Hello everyone, John Doyle from OptixEQ, and welcome to another video analysis race of the day. It's going to be Thursday, February the 3rd in Gulfstream Park, race 5. And it's a short 5.5 furlong race on synthetic. And I think there's something in it for everyone. In fact, the first part of this video I'm going to do is focus on people who don't use or haven't used optics or are new to optics and want to just understand how to interpret a plot simply. And then in the second phase, we'll go into a little bit more detail for more advanced handicappers, okay? Hopefully we'll get a little something for both audiences. So the first thing I want to point out, if you're new to optics, one thing you see in our introductory videos we talk a lot about is this quadrant 1. This is the box up in the upper left-hand corner. And that's where your horses with the most early speed are. And so in racing in North America, these horses tend to do very well. And so in this case, we have the 3, 5, 6, and 8 on standard plot and 3, 5, 6, and 8 in quadrant 1 on both surface and distance and standard. So when you're evaluating or looking at these races, those are horses that look strong win contenders. So we've kind of narrowed down the contenders for you by looking at 3, 5, 6, and 8. Now, late pace is the second thing. So people who've seen the introductory videos know that squares are better finishers than circles and win more often. So I'm looking for squares both on the standard and surface and distance. So those horses are the 3, the 2, the 3, the 8, and the 9. Okay, so we had the 3, 5, 6, 8, okay, in quadrant 1, and 2, 3, 8, 9 as the square. So those are the horses that we would want to look at, and we're going to look at, and we dig in. But if you weren't getting into all that thing and you didn't want to get to the next level analysis and keep it simple, that would be your list of contenders. And what I would be looking at if I just stopped there, I would be looking at things like price and some other things that maybe some people look at in terms of jockey trainer, whatever you look at and when you normally go to the racetrack, color, number, whatever. But at least we've narrowed down the list of contenders for you as simply as possible, and maybe giving you a little bit access to horses that maybe are not so obvious to the general public. Okay, good enough. All right, we're going to dig in now, and I'm going to do my analysis. I'm going to go horse by horse. I'm sorry, no, I'm going to go. I'm going to take a look at the early pace horses, the pressers, and then the closers. I like to break races down there. For this plot, we have a yellow fit. Our contention is a flame, so there might be some contention, especially with the 5, 6, maybe even the 3 gets part of that early pace. But the speed rating is low, so it could go a bunch of different ways. But let's break it down. Let's look at the early pace horses first. The number 5, I'm going to start with Earth. The thing I don't like about this horse is his last race. I mean, that's his kind of current form, and it just was kind of a dull, subpar effort, C+ on the Optics note grade, so nothing to note there, and only ran a 75. Now this horse, I guess, possibly could improve some, but he's going to need probably mid 80s to win this race. He was able to do that 2 back. So what went wrong? I don't know. You know, I just a little concerned about that. Let's take a look at the plot of that race, see if it can indicate anything in terms of pace scenario. I'm going to compare that plot to today's plot a little bit. And he was the number 4 Earth. You see, he was a small square. So from a plot perspective, he sat a pretty good trip. He should have had a pretty good trip, so really no excuse there. His plot today is a little bit worse because he's a kind of a circle. I guess the only thing is the 6 doesn't show up. 6 is coming off a layoff, and we'll get it to him a little bit. But if he doesn't show up and this horse just gets kind of a lone lead, let's take a look what that might look like. So I'm going to go lone. So, you know, that's a scenario that could play out. And this horse could win or he could lose with that kind of scenario. So it's no guarantee, even if he gets loose, that he's going to kind of win this race and not get run down. So maybe he's a little bit better underneath. You could see maybe in the bottom of your try or something. Just not convinced, even if he gets a lone lead, he's going to win this race based on some of the other horses. The other speed horse in the race, and this is the one coming off a layoff, gives us a little bit of concern, is this horse. What gives me concern about this horse is his layoffs. Coming off nearly a year layoff, but that's not it. I mean, he's just been layoff after layoff after layoff, big layoffs. This is a 7-year-old, and look at how many races this horse has essentially run. Not many. 7 or 8 races or 9 races in a career spanning like 5 years, and just don't know how he's going to come back. He's good enough, obviously, on his best days to win this race. Speed figures fit, class fits. Just don't understand too on this comeback, big drop in class. Who knows? Maybe they just had it with this horse and going to try to cash with him. He plots, kind of equivalent to the 5 on standard, but look at surface distance plot. Let me just go back and so that we can see that. If you go back to the plot, you can see he's kind of similar on standard, but look how good his surface distance plot is. That could be a little dressed up. Let me show you why. It's because he has this one race, which was off the turf, and he ran huge, okay, which is way back when he was a 4-year-old. Now, the reason why that race is included is because when we started doing this, synthetic races were considered dirt races too, just because they were so limited, because most tracks were just synthetic. And we really didn't get much in the way of dirt races. That's changed, so we're going to change this going forward. And the surface distance for synthetic races will be just synthetic. But for this purposes, this race is included, and it was a big race. So these off the turf races are usually suspect anyway. It was a wet, fast track, so it was a big race, but it might have been an outlier too. So if you're going to look at his plot, I think you want to lean on his standard plot in this case as the real plot. So that would kind of put him in the same kind of deal as the 5, but again, he is a little bit faster than the 5. Just the layoffs are concerning. So those two for me are kind of in the same boat, and I really don't love either one on the win end. Okay. The next horse I want to kind of evaluate is the Pressers, and that's the 3 and the 8, and they both plot beautifully. Marcelino is in good form. He's typically runs in the mid to high 80s, gets a low 90 now and then. There's nothing wrong with his form. It's just the last few races he's been given pretty clean trips. He may get another one today. No knocking him. The only concern is he's 7-2. He may even be lower than that, but no one knocking this horse as an obvious contender in this race. The 8 is the other one, and this one's a little bit more intriguing. First of all, his odds are 12-1. Okay, so that makes him really intriguing. But this horse was in top form, was really kind of improving. And last race, they moved him way up, way above where he's running back. So he's dropping back again today. And he was against the flow after being slow out of the gate, and then he was getting kicked back. So there was an excuse in that race. If he can get back to the form previously, understand, this is a different class that he was running. He looks pretty good, especially at 12-1. And notice that the trainer goes back to the wind jockey on this horse. Now, Saez, you would normally say, well, there's a negative rider change from Saez to Reyes, but look at the 3 times that this guy Reyes was with this guy. He's all wins. Okay, first by 8 lengths, first by 8 lengths. So this horse has Reyes is a fit for this horse. So this jockey change is actually a positive, and you can see Epler has another horse in this race, and that's the one Saez is on. It's the number 2. It's a closer. He's another contender, but 8, a huge contender in this race. Plots beautifully, has the excuse from last race. If he can get back and improve off that effort, he looks like a major contender, and his odds are just very generous at 12-1. If you're lucky, if you get that. Let's evaluate the closers. Let's use the 2 Officer Country. This is the other Epler. This horse is in great form. B+ last time. Gets a little bit of a hike. Could be considered even maybe a little lateral move. The only thing you would consider in this horse, maybe he's a little toppish, but ever since they made the transition to synthetic, this horse has been a monster. Don't love his morning line of 5-2, but this horse is a strong contender in this race, and so he must be considered. And then the 9 was the other closer in the race. Just appears to be off form, and he's been routing actually. But if you notice the decline in his speed figures, he's going to now he's going to try 5.5 furlongs. I mean, you can see the decline. maybe they're just trying to shake things up because this horse is not really a 5.5 furlong horse. He's done it a couple of times, and he's had really no success this short. Let me just go. I'm going to filter on 5.5. Yeah, he's run twice. He's really had no success. Maybe he can close for an underneath piece at best, but he's got an uphill battle. 8-year-old, I don't know, gonna have to really improve to get a piece, but it's a possibility in this field. So in review, 5 and 6 could do some damage to one another. They're Q1 horses, but it look like they may kind of cancel each other out a little bit. The 3 and the 8 look like the strongest contenders. 8, obviously, the better play right now based on the morning line. And then our closes the 2 and the 9. The 2 gets the jump on the 9. The 9 looks off form. So for me, it's Epler looked like she might have somewhat a chance on the exacta here with the 2 Officer Country and the 8 Doo-Wop Don in race 5 at Gulfstream Park on Thursday, February 3rd. Thanks for listening. And check us out on YouTube and use this YouTube channel, subscribe to it, or go to OptixEQ.com. And we're going to be having a great weekend. We're going to be doing our Derby preps, and I got some special guests for that. So stay tuned. Thanks for listening.